Hello, everyone, and welcome to Good News. And I'm Carolyn. And today's guest is a very fascinating person. His name is Brian Baber. And I would call him a modern Renaissance man because he's a great father, a great husband, an entrepreneur, a very successful one. He has his pilot's license, he's a college professor, and his family and friends say he's an excellent cook. So, all of those accolades, though, is not the reason that I want you to hear from Brian. What I admire most about Brian is his servanthood. So, let's go now and meet Brian. Hi, Brian.
Hey,
So good
Carolyn.
to have you on the podcast today.
Pleasure to be here.
Brian, I want to say that the first time I ever heard your name was when I was starting to teach at the charter school that your sons were attending. And I was standing next to someone admiring the fact that the school actually had a father-son breakfast once a month. And when I was saying that, the person next to me said, "Oh, yeah, that was started by one of the fathers. And his name is Brian Baber." And I went, "Brian Baber? I'm friends with your mother, so I'd heard your name before." And then I heard more about you later on. And I was so anxious to really talk to you more about all of the service that you and your lovely wife, Jessica, do. So that's why you're on the podcast. And I hope to pull some nuggets out of you today, if I
Sure.
could. So, Brian, I want to ask you one question that might be a little strange, but did you start wanting to help people and make things better when you were a little boy or when you were in high school, or when did all this start with you?
Well, I think I would start by saying that I was dealt a royal flush for parents. You know, my mom, Donna, and my dad,
Yes.
Lewis, and I don't think I could have asked for better parents. So, and I know that's a gift. And so I know that others don't necessarily have that. And I think that may be something that just God has put on my heart to want to bless others in a way that maybe they didn't have some of the blessings that I had as a kid growing up. And so maybe it just started with that. I don't.
Right. Well, I do know that you're known for being a great father, and I wonder if you would tell me some things that you might advise fathers that want to be good fathers, but maybe they just don't know where to start.
Yeah.
What would you
So
say?
yeah, I think I'm looking at the thing that I have above me. I don't know if it's written in reverse from the way the camera angle is, but it says live intentionally. And
Oh,
so I think being intentional about being a father, right? Anyone can biologically be a dad, right? By having children, but being intentional about learning how to be a good father. And just like you mentioned, the All Pro Dad program, that started with me reading their blog every day for
mhm.
probably a few years. And then one day I saw that there was such thing as an All Pro Dad chapter. I just inquired about it. Hey, is there one in Bay County? Maybe I could go to with my kids. There wasn't. There was none in Bay County at the time. So I reached out to the principal and the All Pro Dad chapter and said, "Hey, can we start one at Bayhaven?" And that's what happened. I just started one at Bayhaven, and it's been going ever since. That was in January of 2019 as we started All
Wow.
Pro Dad. The All Pro. So
That
we
ha-
meet usually once a month during the school year, and dads will bring their kids to school, and we have breakfast, and we'll have a topic that we talk about. Something I'll mention to you: every All Pro Dad chapter starts out with, it's called the Pride Moment, and it's where dads turn to their kids and they say, I'm proud of you because, and it's not just that I'm proud of you. It's I'm proud of you because, and they put something behind that, something that they've done, a way they behaved over the last few weeks or something, and so it starts with that, and it's powerful. It really is powerful for the kids. It's powerful for the dads, and it's just a great. It is a great program.
It is something that needs to be everywhere,
Yeah.
really.
Yeah. So, Bay Haven was the first to start an All Pro Dad chapter in Bay County, and since then we've had a couple other chapters start in Bay County. And Mark McQueen, our superintendent, has learned about All Pro Dad, and he is on board now. We just had a meeting the other day at Florida State where we're launching 10 additional chapters across Bay County for All Pro Dad. And Mark McQueen said he wants to see an All Pro Dad chapter in every school because he sees the benefit of
Wonderful.
dads being engaged with their children in their lives.
So, so sons or daughters that
Sons
have,
and daughters, yes, yep,
yeah, have a good self-concept, their behavior is going to show it.
right.
So I know as a teacher, when we would have conferences, when the parents would come in, we would know right away what the issue was with the child, unfortunately. So with good parents giving good feedback to their children, that's going to improve everything.
Yeah, and that's one of the benefits of All Pro Dad is it's a
Uh-huh.
trusted resource for any dad. So I would just say, hey dads, subscribe to All Pro Dad. You'll get the play of the day every day. It's just a short couple minute read, and it's just going to give you wisdom on how to be a good father. That's
Wonderful, wonderful. So Brian, I know that you also teach economics, or what is it, entrepreneurship
entrepreneurship. Uh-huh.
at the college, and the ones that go to the class obviously want to increase their finances, but this is a tough world. But I wonder if you could give some good advice, some nuggets to those that aren't taking your class. What would you tell them to do that they could do for that would best enhance their finances for the future?
That the compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world. Einstein said that, and so start saving early. Start a Roth IRA as a young person. If you start a Roth IRA as a young person and put a couple $100 a month in it for the next 10 years, they'll all retire millionaires. It's so simple. But the problem is most people don't, and they wait, and then they don't get the benefit of compound interest. On the flip side of that, I would say don't get into credit card debt. I mean, how good does a meal? I mean, how much do you want to have to pay for a meal you had last year on your credit card, right?
Right.
Yeah, so that's what happens to a lot of young people is they get into credit card debt, and now then they're only able to make their minimum payment, and because they're trying to keep up with the lifestyle that they see online, and they're just misdirected.
Right. And so that is a problem, I think, in our culture today is this comparison culture.
Mhm.
So, what kind of advice would you give just a young family starting out? What is the best advice you could give them for life?
Okay. Well, it starts in the family. If dads, I would say you're the only one that can be father, and you're the only one that can be husband in that role. So I'm a Christian, and I know God has given me my family as a gift, and so I want to steward that most precious gift better than anything else. That's paramount. God calls us to love Him and love others, and the closest others to us in our life is our family. So I'd say would start with that, and then save and don't get into debt. That's what I would say for young couples. Be intentional. Get involved with a small group, a group of people to do life with. That you're going to have ups and downs along the way, but if to have someone in your corner to help you and cheer you along, and then also, when something good happens, and I mean, life is so much better shared with other people, and so have a core group of people that you can do life with, friends.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're really not that good alone, are we?
No, no,
So,
we're not meant to do life alone,
right.
really. And
Yes.
so having a core group of people in your life, I think that's critical. So
Yes.
Jessica and I have been in a small group for about 18, 19 years now.
Oh, that's wonderful. So, um, I want I wanted to know too that first of all, if there's any other service groups that you've been involved with or started, or I know you and Jessica get involved with a lot of things. I know you went to a marriage conference recently.
Yeah.
Could you tell us a little bit about that? And
Sure. So the WinShape Foundation supports families and marriages, and it's heavily subsidized by the Cathy family. That's the Chick-fil-A
Mhm.
family, and it's in Rome, Georgia. And we've been on several retreats there. I've gone there as with my family. I've gone there with just Jessica. We've taken our small group. I've taken my business up there, and we've done business retreats. So it is a great organization that pours into families. And Jessica and I, we've learned how to be a host couple, so we can, you know, be able to lead others in the future there. This past summer, we went to the BVI's with them on a sailboat, and we learned how to be a host couple. So hopefully, in the near future, we'll be doing host coupling in the BVI's again. So
Wonderful, wonderful. You mentioned that that you are a Christian and that is leading a lot of your servanthood. Um, I know you're very involved with your church. Could you tell me some of the things that you're involved with? In
sure. So I serve as the lay leader of our church, and that's, it's not like a pastor, but just somebody that is in the church that maybe has the ear to what's going on and can speak with the pastor about things. I've done that for a number of years. Like I said, a small group. We've been on mission trips with our church. We go to Honduras. Um, just doing servanthood, just serving our community, right?
well, Brian,
One of the more recent ones is the Well. It's a
oh,
college
I was going to
ministry.
talk to you
Yeah,
about that. I was going to ask you about the well. Tell us
sure.
about that.
Yeah, sure. So the Well is a college ministry that we started about a year and a half ago, and it became, you know, it. I know God's put on my heart, that college age person when I teach at Florida State, and so I love that age. I love because that's such a pivotal time in people's lives, is the direction that they're going to take, and it was very pivotal in my own walk.
Hmm.
And so I would say, uh, I read a statistic that about 70% of young people will walk away from their faith in college, and that just seemed wrong. And then I went to our church and said, "Hey, we don't have something for them. It's no wonder that they do, but let's do something about it." And so we started a college ministry called we didn't have a name for it. We let them name it, but it was called the Well. And we meet every Wednesday night, and we start at 8 p.m., which is late for me, but I know God is directed us to do it. He keeps me awake to be able to participate with
Right.
it. But it's a wonderful, wonderful program, and it gives young people from 18 to 28 that next step, right? That they
Mhm.
get to continue walking in their faith, because oftentimes up until 18, they're just going along with whatever mom and dad said to do, right?
Mhm.
And then at that 18 mark, they get to start to decide, is this faith something that is my own? And we
Right.
want to give them a place to explore that and ask questions
Yes.
and go deeper. And one of the things that we do at the Well also is we'll allow them to lead. In fact, this week,
Oh,
my daughter and her boyfriend will be leading. They're both back from college, and so they're going to be leading the Well this coming Wednesday. I'm excited to be there and
yes,
listen to what they have to say.
I'm sure. And how wonderful to have such good mentors surrounding them when they have those deep questions that they're asking too,
Yeah.
to bounce that off of you. And that's wonderful too. So,
I would say this. I was thinking about this with somebody else the other day, and it really had to do with when our children see that our faith is real.
mhm.
Uh, you know, the faith we have in our Lord and Savior is real. Uh, it was actually, I think it was today, my son asked me, said, "Dad, do you still do coffee with the King?" And I'm looking here. That's where I sit, and that's what I call my morning devotion. And it's called Coffee with the King. And in fact, that's a plug for it. If somebody wants to read about it, it's to go to coffeewiththeking.net. And it's just the time that I spend with the Lord each morning, and
Mhm.
and that my children see that my relationship with the Lord is paramount, and I
Mhm.
want them to come alongside me.
Right. I know my grandmother, I used to, in a different way, but I know that she always prayed every morning. She would be up early, but and it was a long time ago when people did when they were on their knees praying to
Yeah,
God. But I would see her praying, and she was usually praying for me.
yeah,
So, but that made such an impression on me. That made a
yeah,
big impression
yeah,
that her faith was real, and I
yeah,
wanted what she had.
yeah.
And I'm sure I'm where I am today because of that. So that is important, that modeling.
Mhm.
So that's excellent. So um, I wanted to, I know that in our world today, it's um, it's hard, like you said. It is hard. Life is hard. But what is it that we could learn about life, even though it is hard? What kind of nuggets would you give people of wisdom?
Yeah. Well, it's hard, but it's good, right? But it's
Okay.
so good. And one, it's hard for me to imagine what life would be like without a relationship with the Lord. I think it would be so lonely. It would be so lonely without a relationship with Him. So I think I would start with, why am I here? Why am I here in the first place? Am I created, or am I an accident? Right? And I believe that none of us are an accident. We are all created in God's image and designed to worship Him and designed to want to have a relationship with Him, and that it's vertical. And then we live that out with our relationships with each other, and to love God and love others. So I think I would
Beautifully
say
said. Mm.
um, that yeah, it's hard, but the challenges that we face are um, they're steps for the next challenge, because once you deal with something difficult, you know that, hey, I got through that difficult thing, I can get through this next difficult thing. And I'm reminded of a story. I remember when I was in college, I had this one professor, and he came in the first day and he said, this will be the hardest class you've ever taken. If you're not up for it, get out. And so the next class, half the class dropped.
Whoa.
Okay, this was in graduate school, and this guy was pretty aggressive in class. He could get angry, and he said, I don't care if you tell the dean on me, because I get paid $1 to do this. They're not going to fire me. And he was independently wealthy, and he came in and taught this entrepreneurial finance class, and it was the hardest class I'd ever taken by far. We had a 10-page paper due every class. We met twice a week, and
Wow.
I remember, and that was before ChatGPT, so nothing, we had to write it ourselves, right? And so, but at the end of that class, his last name was Manley, and so I remember talking to some friends. We were at the end of that class, we'd be talking about something, we had something difficult to do, and we said, well, what is it on a Manley scale? Because his class was a 10. Well, it's only maybe a 6 or so we can do. And if you can do his class, you knew you could deal with anything else. So
Okay. Uh-huh.
yeah, so when you deal with something really hard, that also tells you, if I can do that, I can do this other thing. And so we all have things that happen to us in life, and I've had things happen to me in my business. I'm a builder, and we went through the Great Recession. We've lost our home. We went down to nothing, right? And we had to build back up. I know that if I could go through that, I could go through something else. And so there's these challenges that we are faced as we walk through this life, that they're just preparing us for the next thing, right? They're just preparing us for the next thing, and so I look at it as all of those things are. We can look at them as a blessing.
When you in your small group, I call it your small group.
Yeah,
Um,
we call it the name of our small group is Beta.
it's what?
Is Beta, and the reason
Oh,
why
beta.
it's called Beta is Jessica and I went to a small group called Alpha, and it was a program called by Nikki Gumbel, and it was our when we had just started going to this one church, and we got invited to go. And when we were done with it, we said, this was so good. Jessica ended up getting saved at that small group, and my life was completely turned back around. And that would have been 19 years ago. Okay. And so we said, well, what's next? And they said, well, we don't really have something else next. I said, well, we'll just lead the alpha course again. We led the alpha course again for somebody else. We said, well, what's next? And they were like, well, there's not really. I'm like, well, let's just call it beta, because alpha beta, right? And so our small group is called beta, and we've been meeting for the last, I guess the beta's been meeting for 18 years.
Do the people in your group, do they encounter challenges and you all come together and help each other?
Yes. Yes. Oh my goodness. Yes. We've faced challenges. They've faced challenges. And think about that. Just to have people that have your back to do life with each other. I mean, I couldn't imagine what it would feel like without them.
Mm-hmm. Right. That's so important today. And I think in our culture, and especially since COVID-19 happened, there seems to be more separation. People tend to be alone and with their devices, and so much is digital that they tend to just stay in their houses. I know that my sister and I comment on, we used to play outside even.
Yeah.
And so you don't see that hardly these days. So
yeah. Well, we do life together. We don't just meet for Bible study. We meet for dinners, and we'll go on. We go to the beach together. We'll go on trips together.
That's wonderful.
And so even inside of that group, there's 14 people in our small group, and even inside of that, there's a group of three of us, and we meet outside of that also, and we'll do like men stuff together. We're going through this study together on manhood, and we went up to went up to Virginia and went down a river together, and just doing fun life things together, right? And so that's what life is about, is relationships and being able to experience this great world that God has. And that's one of the things that I love to do as a father and a husband, is I want to point my family to how amazing this world is that God created. And so we spend a lot of time outside, and we spend a time, we live in Panama City, so we have this world's most beautiful beach. We have lakes around us, and I mean, we spend a lot of time in the water. We spend time fishing, and we spend time on boating and such. So paddleboarding, e-foiling, we do all those fun things.
Well, I like what you said too earlier about how important your family is, and if you don't have maybe the money to do all of this, at the very core, at the dinner table, you can get together.
Yeah, so that is
important to your family.
Absolutely. And the reality is, if you don't have money for a boat, you can go to the bridge and fish, right? Let's not let there's all kinds of things that I would love to be able to do that I can't afford to do also, but it should not stop me from engaging with life. But let me go to the dinner table comment first. That is the norm in our family, is to have dinner together every night.
Wonderful.
That's just what we do, right? And so we're not around, the TV's not on. We're sitting around the dinner table. I mean, it's not like sometimes it's complete chaos, right? I mean, but that's totally okay. It's good. It's chaos, but it's good, and we're together, and we love each other.
Yes, awesome, so wonderful. So, Brian, you've left us with so many wise nuggets here. It's wonderful. Is there anything else that I'm leaving out that you and Jessica are involved with?
Yeah, so I mentioned All Pro Dad for me. There's something called iMom for the ladies, for mom. And so it's kind of the sister company. It's under the Family First is the organization, and then
Family First, okay.
And then under that is All Pro Dad and iMom, and they go hand in hand. iMom is for women, and so I would encourage the women to subscribe to that. It's just going to give them encouragement, ideas. Hey, how do I deal with this when my child experiences this, right? And so a trusted resource, I think, is good to have.
Well, we'll put that on the end of the podcast when we edit, just to give that information. So, well, Brian, unless I have left something out, I'm going to say blessings to you and your whole family. and because you are such a blessing to so many people. And maybe we can hear more nuggets at another time.
Sure.
And until then, we say thank you, and we will talk soon.
All right.
Brian. Okay. So okay.